Hey everyone, welcome back to AMTV News. I'm your anchor, Topher Morrison. It is Thursday, June 27th, 2013. In our first story in civil rights and law news, local police now have NSA powers. The technology has been out for years, but now the law enforcement's ability to log thousands of license plates in a day's patrol is spreading throughout the nation amidst the fallout and debate over the NSA's super scandal. The Center for Investigative Journalism reports, quote, police agencies throughout California have been collecting millions of records on drivers and feeding them to intelligence fusion centers operated by local, state, and federal law enforcement. Now, since 2008, one concerned citizen was photographed 112 times, once in front of his own house as he exited his car. If this sounds familiar, it's essentially what the NSA has been doing, integrating public and private information with government databases. In fact, Palantir, a private Silicon Valley company seeded by the NSA's venture capital arm, In-Q-Tel, and PayPal alum Peter Thiel, specializes in the practice, and like the NSA with whom it allegedly works with, Palantir coincidentally also has a program called PRISM. The NSA's now infamous version, however, is spelled with all capitals. We're sure they're unrelated. Lieutenant Randall Brandt of the San Leandro Police Department said, "It's new technology. We're learning as we go, but it works 100 times better than driving around looking for license plates with your eyes." Well, golly, Lieutenant, I'm sure glad your job's easier. And as local police become militarized, federalized, and subsidized, it's no surprise then that the New York Times reported yesterday troubling CIA ties with the NYPD and potentially illegal domestic surveillance operations. Who knows? Next thing you know, your washing machine could be spying on you. In our next story, was the Unabomber right about Obama? Dr. Keith Ablow of the Fox News yesterday mused about whether Ted Kaczynski, also known as a Unabomber, and his infamous socio-political treatise, Industrial Society and Its Future, was on the money after all of these years. Kaczynski, after a 17-year bombing spree, came off as a nutbag hermit and an extreme neo-Luddite, ranting and raving about technology's assault on the autonomy of the individual and the left's collective ideology. But his critique, featured in the New York Times and Washington Post back in 1995, seems more than ever chillingly apropos. Alba notes Kaczynski argued that our increasing reliance on technology would end up short-circuiting the ability of human beings to think for themselves. Now, if you've ever seen a couple enjoying dinner this way, how the internet is literally remapping our synapses, how some actually dream of uploading themselves into a digital matrix one day, and how a vast and expanding panorama of psychological maladies and vices unique to the industrial technological system, as Kaczynski calls it, pervades developed nations, you also understand how far down the rabbit's hole we've fallen. From narcissistic Facebook to often trivial updates from Twitter and GPS holding our hand all along the way, while the Unabomber's actions were undoubtedly extreme, his message over the years seems, well, not so nutty. While technology by itself has been a double-edged sword, lowering economic barriers, raising the standard of living, and expanding the communication of ideas and knowledge, the transition from rural life to high-paced specialization has robbed us of our relationship with nature and forced many, wrote Kaczynski, to, quote, behave in ways that are increasingly remote from the natural pattern of human behavior. But ultimately, it's empowered the collectivists. Empires and police states rose and fall for thousands of years because they hadn't yet attained the ability to control ever-expanding borders and people within them. Today, however, world government is not a matter of conquering, but of consensus, as the steps from free trade area to political union are well known, for instance, in Europe. See how well they're doing. An area of the globe which, for half a century ago, was engulfed in warfare. Now, today, we see the rise of the expert technocrat as the new government model, more fit to govern than politicians or the people at large, and value a brave new world of social and moral underpinnings. The traditional philosophies of happiness and enlightenment are now subordinated as, quote, science marches on blindly, without regard to real welfare of human race or to any other standard. obedient only to the psychological needs of the scientists and of the government officials and corporate executives who provide the funds for research. Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar at all. Capturing every corner of the alternative media. Watch AMTV News Monday through Friday. Got a tip or an interesting news clip? Shoot me an email at tophermorrison@amtvmedia.com. Follow me on Twitter at AMTV News, and like me on Facebook at The Real Topher Morrison. Find my source material and more videos like these at AMTV Media and greenwave.com. Both are part of the AMTV network. This is AMTV, the voice of independence. From narcissistic Facebook to trivial updates from Twitter. It's astonishing how bad I slur my words sometimes. I'm like almost done too. Come on.